But, getting back to this whole thing about the, what Chris was talking about earlier, there's a disconnect between the realities of marijuana's adverse health consequences and then the public perception that it's harmless. This is a bit of speculation in my part, but I've always wondered whether part of the problem is, I guess, people in my generation. I'm thinking about people from like ages 45 to 65 or 70. And these are the people who they might have experimented a little bit with marijuana when they were back in high school or college. Maybe that they were at a party where a joint was passed around, and maybe they experimented a little bit with it, and to their recollection, nothing super horrible happened. And so in their minds, they just don't think marijuana is a big deal, and so they don't take the issue seriously. But the reality is that today's marijuana is not exactly the same drug that people were using 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. Can you unpack that for us, Doctor?
I would agree 100% with what you just said. And that is something I hear from people. Well, and of course I grew up in the 70s, okay? So, you know what that was.
Yeah.
But I hear that from people. I did pot. Didn't really hurt me. Didn't really hurt my brother or my sister, whoever. With all due respect, you did not do this drug. This is not the same drug. It's not even the same drug. In the 70s, the potency was around 4% from the plants. Now, these are genetically modified plants, many of them. And the potency for the buds alone now ranges between 20 and 30%. So you are talking about 5 times, the potency just for the plant. Yeah. And the studies that I cite talk about high-potency marijuana being 20%. So we're talking about the plant. Yeah. But if you're talking about edibles, the edibles range between 60 and 70% THC.
Wow.
And if you're talking about dabbing or some of the other more refined edibles, you're talking 90 plus. So the studies don't even have a clue how bad this is going to get. We don't know the permanent damage this will do. And that's one thing I was going to say. A huge difference, too, is that marijuana is fat soluble instead of water soluble. So one of the reasons why this high potency THC stays in the brain longer is because the brain is like 60% fat. So it gets in there and it sits there. And the drug and alcohol counselors are telling me that it really does take 4 days. When someone's been doing this high potency marijuana dabbing, it takes 4 days to bring them down from that. And this is one of the things you can see, like, well, if you're lost in this fog of hopelessness and helplessness and despair and paranoia for 4 long days, it's going to seem like it's never going to end.
Wow.
So this is not the drug of the 70s. So people should not even begin to compare their experiences from those days with today's drug.
Wow.
It's a totally different drug.